Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Drive Time. Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn Sullivan. Jaguars Drive Time starts right now.
Congratulations, James, on 1,000 yards rushing. We're proud of you. We love you. Keep breaking records.
Congratulations, Barbara, on 1,000 rushing yards. We're so proud of you and we love you.
Congratulations on reaching 1,000 yards. We are so incredibly proud of you. I love you, baby. Let's go, Jags.
Sending all positive vibes and good energy to James Robinson and congratulating him on his success in his journey in accomplishing 1,000 yards.
Congratulations to running back James Robinson hitting that 1,000-yard milestone yesterday in a loss to the Tennessee Titans. His family very proud of him, and rightfully so. And we welcome in Brian Sexton and John Oehser, and welcome you into Jaguars Drive Time on this Monday morning. Brian, a huge milestone for the undrafted rookie, and it was somewhat of a story yesterday. In the post-game press conference, Doug Marrone took a notice and congratulated James Robinson in the post-game locker room. And some people said, it wasn't the right time for that. But I'm all for congratulating him because he is one that has been so consistent this season.
Who's to say what the right time is? I mean, if it was the right time for the guys in the locker room, who cares what anybody on the outside thinks? One of the things I like the most about Doug Marrone is that he just tells you what he thinks. And yesterday in his post-game news conference, he said, look, we don't have a lot going on for us right now. There's not a lot of things that we can feel good about. There aren't a lot of coaches that would say that. They just say nothing instead. Mm-hmm. But Doug let you in. He made himself vulnerable so you could see. I wouldn't care at all what anybody in the outside world thinks, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. If it's good for the guys in the locker room, that's all that matters.
Could not agree more, and John, I think you're on the same page with that as well.
Well, when my family sends me videos like that, it's just full of insults, and it's just cause for self-reflection for me. So I can't relate to this, but I really can't imagine that many people who follow the Jaguars really thought that it was inappropriate to laud James Robinson. I think Doug is a very old school NFL coach, and I think he was a little self-conscious about it because he's like, what if people might think of this? But I thought the best quote from Doug at the end was, I thought it was the right thing, and you can't go wrong doing the right thing. If somebody out there thinks that's a bad thing, then I don't think anybody should worry about it. Kudos to James Robinson. It's an unbelievable story, and I don't think anybody thought it was bad.
Yes.
By the way, you got to
awesome
find out who was the cowboy? Who was wearing the cowboy hat in that video? Should I know who that is? I mean, I know James has some famous. Okay, I know he has some famous friends out there. There's some basketball players from his hometown. I saw some of the congratulations there, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to know who that was, but I admire the 10-gallon hat.
I agree. Definitely fashionable for the video. And also, we all know it's rather difficult to say lines in unison without a teleprompter. I was very impressed with that, Brian. They were spot on and looked like the first take, all of them. I was like, well done, Robinson family.
Look, I mean, we'll talk more about him, but it was great to see, and Doug was right, for a franchise that in 2020, now look, the minute this flips, we're going to have a lot of things to feel good and positive about as this team goes forward towards its future. There's lots that we can talk about. For right now, it's the James Robinson Show.
It is, and that leads us into big things, and here's a math equation for you to start big things. 3 + 1 = 0, ? And I know what you're thinking. Jags Drive Time, you must be bad at math, and yes, we are bad at math, but that means 3 + 1. The Jaguars are on their fourth quarterback of the season, going back to Gardner Minshew yesterday after Mike Glennon started the game. And like we all expected, Doug Marrone said, hey, we needed a spark, and Gardner Minshew gave that for a brief period of time.
Mike, threw the pick, and, and we were behind, and I really wanted to try to get a spark, and thinking that, Gardner could, extend plays and make some plays with his feet, and he did that. As far as moving forward, again, I haven't spoken to both guys, so, just out of respect for them, Obviously I have in my mind what I want to do, but I'm actually gonna make sure I speak to them first before I do something. Through the media. I don't want them to find out. From what I said, because after the game, everything happened so quickly for me.
And there you have it. Doug became a starter this week for the Baltimore Ravens, but we'll hear from him this afternoon. So possibly we'll name a guy we're all kind of feeling it might be Gardner Minshew going into this week. Big thing too, talent wins in the end. The Jags fought the good fight for weeks, staying competitive and in games ever since after the bye week. That ended yesterday because talent wins in the end. This guy, Derrick Henry, is a talent that the defense could not stop. 215 yards and his 36-yard touchdown at the end of the game for the Jags. I mean, that was it. You couldn't come back from that. So you fought the good fight, but Derrick Henry was too much for this Jaguars defense and just wore them out near the end of the game. And big thing 3 is round of applause. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, congrats to James Robinson. 1,000 yards. His teammates absolutely believe that he deserves all the praise he's getting.
No, he definitely deserved that. I mean, coming in as an undrafted rookie to carry the load and help this team the way he has, he deserves all that. I'm all for individual accomplishments because that eventually helps the team win. I wish everybody was out here breaking records and, reaching milestones. So I think that's something we should all strive for. And, if everybody does their job to the level that James is doing it, then we'll be all right.
And there you have it, big things. And John, that's a guy that we haven't seen in a while at a post-game press conference, Gardner Minshew. And he came out and that first drive he was in, got a touchdown and looked good, moving his feet. But credit to Gardner Minshew, he did recognize that the defense was playing completely different than how they were playing with Mike Glennon because he came in when the Titans had such a lead.
Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to have a passionate take about the quarterback position because you're supposed to have an opinion, come down on one side. I guess Gardner will be the starter of the last 3 games. Last week, I guess that Glennon would be the starter for the last 4. At one point, I guess that Jake Luton would be the starter for the last 7. He'll run around some. He might make some plays happen outside the box with his feet, but when the enthusiasm of the first drive sort of went away yesterday, you saw a very similar Gardner Minshew to what you had seen. The offense bogged down in the red zone a little bit. There were not throws downfield. There was a lot of inaccuracy. The quarterback's not here. And I guess we'll talk about this for the last 3 weeks. I don't mean to sound cynical about it, but it's just not here. And it's going to be decided next spring, Brian.
Yeah, and people take it so personally when you say Gardner Minshew's not the guy because people like him so much. He's so personal. It's just not a personal issue. He doesn't fit the mold of a professional elite franchise level quarterback. Okay, he tried. He got there, which is closer than so many do. So this is not a personal issue. We don't even have to mention the name of the quarterback for the Jaguars going forward as far as I'm concerned the next 3 weeks because after that, it won't be part of the conversation. The conversation starts to focus on Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and Zach Wilson and Trey Lance. And, I can't help but point this out. So you look at what's going on this morning in Philadelphia, right? Jalen Hurts, second-round pick, comes in and has 150 yards passing and 100 yards rushing and leads them to an improbable win over the New Orleans Saints. And all of a sudden now, the golden boy, Wentz, who has the $33 million a year contract, he's standing on the sideline wondering about his future, and everyone's pointing at Jalen Hurts. The point of that being that even when you have a guy that you take at the top of the draft and looks like the guy, it can go wrong. It can go bad, and then a second-round pick can come in and look, brilliant. So this isn't a guarantee that everything is going to turn out perfectly because the Jaguars are going to have a shot at a quarterback at the top of the draft. But here's what I do know. It's never worked out for the Jaguars when they've been this high in the draft. 2013, they had the 2nd overall pick. 2014, they had the 3rd overall pick. And there just weren't quarterbacks there. This is that year where the quarterbacks are where the Jaguars are, and they will be considered the 2 best players in the draft coming out. Non-quarterbacks aside, I guess, but You're talking about two guys, and the Jaguars are going to have a chance. So why is there optimism, and why are we willing to just say, well, guy's not on the roster? Because the guy that they're going to have, one of those two, is waiting for them next April. It's working out for them that this year, where they're on a prodigious losing streak, it's okay because there's a quarterback waiting for them at the end of the rainbow.
Absolutely, and we'll see how these next 3 games go, but as of right now, the Jaguars are second in draft position, so this will be a topic all up until April, so get ready for it, and that kind of leads us into big thing too, which is talent wins in the end, John, and this defense played well at the beginning and was holding Derrick Henry and gave the offense a turnover, but the offense wasn't efficient. They weren't taking advantage of opportunities, and this defense was on the field for so long during the game that you figured at one point Derrick Henry was going to pop off with a big run, which he did, that 36-yard run, and you knew, this defense can't try as hard as they can anymore because the offense isn't scoring enough points.
Yeah, and talent won out, and knowledge of what this game was won out, meaning you could tell Mike Vrabel from the start knew that if he had watched the Cleveland game, he had watched the Minnesota game and saw the Jaguars' interior defensive line. This is my hot take, teaser alert, spoiler alert, Schlen. The Jaguars' defensive line couldn't continue to hold up for 60 and then 72 minutes or 70 minutes against Minnesota. Vrabel basically just shortened that process, and he continued to pound Derrick Henry, and they knew that that was the way that they would win that game without any risk. Meaning there weren't going to be turnovers doing that. You weren't going to put the ball in the air. They knew that if they just bludgeoned the Jaguars with Derrick Henry, that there was a very low percentage chance the Jaguars were going to win, and they were right. So talent and knowledge of the situation won out. Eventually that game was going to happen, guys. We talked about it. They had tried so hard with so much effort for 4 or 5 weeks against a contending team. To me, in the first quarter, I said, this is the one where it breaks.
Well, it wasn't also the first time we saw that, right? I mean, go back to the fourth quarter at Lambeau Field. For whatever reason, the Packers didn't play well, and the Jaguars did. But when the game was on the line, Aaron Rodgers, who may be playing the best football of any quarterback in the NFL, and that includes Patrick Mahomes right now, went right down the field, scored the game-winning touchdown, game over. I mean, he knew that the circumstance said, I got to go win this game, so let's go win this game. The Jaguars have been able to work around that and overcome it and play hard, but look at what they face. The Ravens play tonight, and they've got a Browns team that's hot. They're going to be playing for their playoff lives every week the rest of the way to try to stay in this one. COVID and the injury to Lamar Jackson and those sorts of things really hampered their season. Now they've got to be focused. So the Jaguars are going to see talent coming after them. The next week, the Bears, believe it or not, they're still in this thing. They're just a spot out of the playoffs. They're tied with the Vikings, and the Vikings are on the schedule this week. And then we know the Colts, they're probably going to be playing for playoff positioning as well. So the Jaguars are going to see talent. They're going to see experience. They're going to see understanding of circumstances. Yeah, the time is done for try hard to get it done.
Yes, unfortunately, all 3 of those teams contending for the playoffs, and the Jaguars will have a tough road ahead to finish out the 2020 season, and that is big things when we come back. Some highlights from today's loss to the Titans coming up on Jags Drive Time.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch. an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
The best way to feel love is to share it. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, we always go the extra mile with bigger selection, more savings, our best service. Only Subaru of Orange Park gives you a nationwide lifetime warranty and 1 year complimentary maintenance on new and used vehicles. Plus, when you get a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park. Online at SubaruofOrangePark.com. See dealer website for full details.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
I'm going to try to help the team score points. I'm going to try to help the team get better in any way I can. Whatever they need me to do, I'll do. But obviously, there's nothing like being out there and being under center.
Did Gardner Minshew do enough to be the starter this week against the Baltimore Ravens? Possibly we'll find out this afternoon. Doug Marone's press conference around 1:30. Maybe we'll find out Wednesday. Who knows? It changes every week around here, and it's a storyline always. But first, Fair and Fair reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Fair and Fair, protecting you and your family since 1979. All right, here we go. Highlight from yesterday's loss to the Tennessee Titans. Start the game. Jags miss a field goal, flip 53-yard attempt, and the Titans go right down the field, and Josh Jones couldn't do much more with this.
First and 10, how about a little flea flicker action? Tannehill taking a chance towards the end zone, and it is caught! A.J. Brown with a miraculous catch!
SportsCenter top 10 catch, A.J. Brown a free catch, and like they said, Josh Jones in pretty good coverage, so credit to him. Titans go up 7-0. It's now second quarter, score the same. Jags in it, and they stay in it with this play.
Harry, if you want to have a chance as a defense to stop the run. Tannehill, quick trigger release. Football came loose. Davis with the catch. What's the call here? And the officials say fumble, Jacksonville football. Here's Rosas, missed from 53 earlier. Footing good this time. Plenty of leg, and it's good.
All right, 7-3, Jags, you got to go into halftime with this score and you're good. You're in the game. But post 2-minute warning, the Jaguars give up 10 points in that short amount of time to go into halftime.
Fun sight for the opposing defense. Third is short. Henry has it, and he's got a lot more. It's a foot race with Wingard, and Henry will score. To a 2-touchdown lead. Good snap, good hold, and Gostkowski is right down the middle. And a brilliant finish to the half for the
Alrighty, not the way you want to go into halftime. When we start the third quarter, and now you're down by 3 scores. The Titans score again, and it's 24-3. And this basically puts the icing on the cake for Mike Glennon.
Passing game has really helped the guys up front clog up those run lanes. Leonard's second down pass is picked off. Marvelous play by Butler. They're running back inside Jags territory. All of a sudden, they fake the run, and the deep corner comes up in run support. Henry in for the touchdown. And the Titans are putting it on the Jags.
And like they just said, the Titans putting it on the Jags. That is the last of the highlights I included. And John, I was going to include the Gardner Minshew drive, and I thought, it really doesn't matter that much in the end because this basically sums up the game. Is that interception, that Titans touchdown kind of like sealed the deal, and you knew there was really no shot after that.
Yeah, I kind of felt like you said at the top, Glenn, that the 36-yard run by Henry, once that happened, it just sort of felt like, are they really going to come back from 11 down against this team when the Titans are running as well as they were going to be running? I mean, it's at some point when you have a gaping hole like that for Derrick Henry, he's probably going to score. So I mean, we could show all the Gardner Minshew highlights that we want, but the reality was it was over from the start, and it was really just a case where one team was that much better at this point in the season than the other team. Wish I had more.
Well, and that much healthier too. I mean, consider that they were playing with Daniel Ekuale and Doug Costin, in the middle of their line. I mean, if you've got Malik Jackson and Marcel Darius in the middle of the line, he doesn't do that to you. And if you've got those two guys, then Ekuale and Costin are nice complementary pieces. I mean, take Darius out and put Devon Hamilton in because he looks like he's going to be a really good player. If you have some big, capable bodies in there, you have a much better chance. But when the Titans roll in here needing to win in December, and you're playing with Ekuale and Costin, and you can change the name to Smith and Jones, it doesn't matter. But guys who are not frontline players, I mean, Derrick Henry is going to expose you. And he did. They did a nice job up until that drive. Remember, the Jaguars went up 7-3, or didn't go up. They got on the board, and they were down 7-3. You thought, oh, got a game here into the second quarter. This is nice. This, good for the Jags. And, then it was Henry right down the field. It was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got Costin and Ekuale trying to stop him in the middle. Game over.
Right. It was kind of like that looming shadow that you saw from the distance. You knew he was probably going to pop one off, and when he did, it wasn't going to be pretty. And I'm sad to say that our prediction came true with that. It's just the Derrick Henry story that the Jaguars are going to have to pay attention to for seasons to come, because that guy doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So there are your highlights. When we come back, some Bernie Woodfire Grill hot take on Jags Drive Time.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That's Bono's. And now it's the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. All season long, you can get Bono's barbecue at 6 different locations in Everbank Field. You also get Bono's barbecue at 15 locations all around town with fast, friendly service, clean family restaurants, and that great taste of Bono's barbecues. If you want great barbecue, you want Bono's. And remember this, if there ain't a pit, it ain't legit. That's Bono's.
Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit ADECOUSA.com.
This season,
in a season like we're having where everybody's struggling, to have something like that happen is good. Normally, I don't ever really talk about individual accomplishments, Mark, after the game. But I did, because we don't really have a lot going for us, obviously, right now. I mean, except, we have, 3 more opportunities. But it's something that, could be celebrated by all of us, the offensive line, the receivers, the tight ends, and I said even the defensive guys and specialists. I mean, it's something of, here's a guy that, represents so much of what's good, about competition, about, playing, about humility, about, keeping things in perspective that, he's been a great example. Even though he's a rookie free agent, he's been a great example for everybody.
That's Doug Marrone on running back James Robinson, congratulating him for hitting that 1,000-yard milestone, and took a moment in the post-game locker room to congratulate him, and rightfully so for that guy. But first, this season the Jaguars are launching predictive gaming exclusively in the Jaguars mobile app. Choose a bingo card, pick your favorite 3 players, and place wagers to win prizes. Check the games out in the mobile app now. Back on Jags Drive Time, Monday morning means it's time for Bernie Woodfire Grill Hot Takes, and Hot Takes is sponsored by Bernie Grill, an all-natural self-burning grill. Check out berniegrill.com. Brian Sexton, you're up.
All right, so there's not a lot of hot takes on the football side. However, I still hate the Titans. And that's indicative of the fact that there's still a rivalry there. It's an ember, right? Because the Jaguars have not fared that well against the Titans in the last couple of times they've played them. However, it was evident yesterday, even the new guys, Vrabel going for a fake punt attempt on his own 30-yard line in the first quarter. Man, that is a straight-up slap in the face. That is him saying, we don't think you can beat us no matter what we do, so we're going to point it out to you, right? We're going to break your will here in the first quarter. Then, man, they were going after Jeff Swaim like he was the second coming of Dave Casper, right? For those of you younger, think Rob Gronkowski, right? Throwing it at the best tight end in football. Here's Jeff Swaim. Swaim. And they got him the touchdown in the third quarter. They went back to him. That was sticking it in your eye. It was saying, hey, look, this guy wasn't good enough to play for the Jaguars. He's good for us. He's beating you. And then in the fourth quarter, they still have Henry in, and they're just pounding the hometown kid. He should have been out, after the long run that he got him to 195 yards. He shouldn't have been in the fourth quarter. There was no need. But he was saying, look, you passed on this guy. You've seen him since he was in middle school in Yulee. And we took him, and we're going to make sure you don't ever forget that your hometown guy, and he is loved here on the First Coast. People who know him speak volumes about what a good kid he is. We're going to show it to you, and we're going to hammer you with him. So the rivalry is there. It's time for the Jaguars to pick this thing up and to be able to create some fuel of their own to throw on that fire and get this thing going again, because it's the rivalry that makes sports fun. And the Titans are the Jaguars' rival. It's kind of in embers right now because the Jaguars have been unable to, compete consistently with them, especially in December when games matter. But I still hate the Titans.
Very good hot take, and as you rightfully should, always hate the Titans. It's still a rivalry, no matter what. All right, John, what do you have?
Well, I actually have two. I'll go through the first one quick because it's been striking me during this show. We haven't really said it. I've got a lot of emails criticizing Doug Marrone for going back to Minshew, for not sticking with a quarterback. The reality is when you don't have a frontline quarterback, you keep trying, guys, hoping you get frontline play from your quarterback. So, I really don't want to hear this. Well, he kept saying this guy gives him the best chance to win. What about this? So it's a quarterback issue, not a Doug Marrone issue, guys. Anyway, quarterback is an issue, but so is the defensive line. That's my real Bernie Grill hot take. That's kind of obvious, and I went away from it because we've talked about it all show. The defensive line has to get better. It has to get stouter. I don't think that Costin is a bad player. I think Devon Hamilton has a lot of hope. They need 2 or 3 more versions of that and one more elite guy in the front. You can't win in this league if you are not stout on the defensive interior. Schlin, sorry I took 2. Your turn.
That's okay, John. You're allowed. You're a producer. You can do whatever you want on Jags Drive Time. My Bernie Woodfire Grill, a hot take is about the wide receivers, and you're thinking, all right, inconsistent quarterback play, that must mean the wide receivers suffer. And they do, but not Keelan Cole to the extent that you would think. The wide receivers, hey, they're frustrated, and we understand why. They've had 4 quarterbacks this season. DJ Chark in particular, visibly upset yesterday and wasn't targeted until the second quarter. But what I've learned during my short time on this earth is that you cannot trust wide receiver emotions. The story that went viral this week with Chad Ochocinco Johnson when he was calling his coaches at 2 a.m. saying, hey, I'm open. I believe it. But I think we should look at a guy like Keelan Cole who is handling his business the right way and is still being effective no matter who the quarterback is. 7 receptions for 67 yards and a touchdown yesterday. Keelan Cole is going to get a new contract and he's going to get paid. Will it be here? We don't know. But he's handling his business like a professional, still being effective no matter who the quarterback is. And Brian, this is a guy that we can look at that is doing things the right way. And I think teams, you don't know if it's here, but someone's going to take notice and pay him next season.
Well, someone will, but the fact that there's a new GM means that he will take a look at his young receiving core, and here's a guy who's overcome being an undrafted rookie to be a really nice player, and the new GM is likely to say, I've got these guys, I can't pay everybody, I'm going to let him go, I'll go get my own. I mean, that's just the timing of the way things work in this league. Mm-hmm. Not that he's not worth money, but how much do you balance it knowing that you have Colin Johnson and DJ Chark? And then yesterday, I have to mention, Mike Glennon didn't throw a lot of good passes yesterday, but he threw 2 lasers through traffic that Laviska Shenault caught, where my eyes were silver dollars. Wow, look at that kid snatch the ball. So you've got 3 really promising young receivers. You got to be careful what you pay a guy when there's other needs. And we also have to take into account how the cap is going to constrict somewhat because of the revenue differential this year.
Yep.
But Keelan Cole has been a great story.
He is, and a guy that's handling his business on and off the field. And that is Bernie Woodfire Grill Hot Takes. When we come back, some NFL headlines coming up on Jags Drive Time.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Oi. Bonjour.
Xin chào.
Добрый день.
كيف فينا نساعدكم?
¿Cómo te podemos ayudar?
If you have an accident, the last thing you should have to worry about is a language barrier. That's why at Farah & Farah, we have a team as diverse as our clients. So no matter what language you speak, we'll fight for your voice. Farah & Farah, here for you.
نحن هون للكل.
Ici pour vous.
Aquí para todos.
Here for all. Jacksonville.
The best way to feel love is to share it. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park, we always go the extra mile with bigger selection, more savings, our best service. Only Subaru of Orange Park gives you a nationwide lifetime warranty and 1-year complimentary maintenance on new and used vehicles. Plus, when you get a new Subaru during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. At Hanania Subaru of Orange Park. Online at SubaruofOrangePark.com. See dealer website for full details.
Back on Jags Drive Time, Monday morning brought to you by Jet Home Loans, and we end every Monday morning with some NFL headlines around the league. Brian Sexton, take it away.
Just some things you may have missed from Sunday's action. You probably saw that Jamal Adams got his 8.5 sack. Is that how you say that? He has 8.5. He was credited with a sack when he ran Sam Darnold out of bounds. He didn't even know, by the way, at that moment, that he had set the NFL record single season for most sacks by a defensive back in an NFL season. The great Adrian Wilson, who most people probably don't recall, who played for the Arizona Cardinals back in the mid-2000s, had the record with 8. Adrian Wilson was a monster defensive back. And so is Jamal Adams. Recall that the Seahawks traded a first-round pick and gave him a massive contract. And he's missed 4 games, so he's got 8.5 sacks as a safety in 9 games, which is tremendous. And by the way, Russell Wilson yesterday secured a winning season for the 9th consecutive year. And according to ESPN, he is the first quarterback in league history to have a winning record in each of his first 9 seasons. So no one's really surprised when you say Russell Wilson and put accolades behind it, because he just seems to do that week in and week out. Here's one for you. The Jaguars very nearly pulled off the upset win in Minnesota, in large part because Dan Bailey missed a field goal and 2 extra points. Sent the game into overtime. Finally, he connected on the 4th try. Well, the 4th try wasn't the charm yesterday. He became the first kicker in 60 years to miss 4 consecutive kicks. 1 PAT and 3 consecutive field goals. They left 10 points on the field, and they lost, which was another hit to their playoff hopes. Remember, they started 1-5, and then they got themselves on a winning streak, and they were a hot team. Last week they had to go to overtime, and then this week the kicker misses. So Dan Bailey is the GOAT, and not in that greatest of all time sense. He's the guy that everyone's pawning their sins off on in Minnesota this morning, although his teammates were quick to his defense. Tough day for him. And by the way, he wasn't the only kicker yesterday to miss 3 or more field goals. Sergio Castillo did it 3 consecutive times. He missed a field goal for the New York Jets, but we won't talk about them. And finally, the Raiders fired their defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther, yesterday. 5 straight games without sacks or interceptions. They said, you know what? They've lost 3 of their last 4. Typical Raiders of the last 10, 12 years. They look like they got something going, and then they swoon in December. Remember last year they lost at home to the Jaguars in their final game at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Yesterday they got run over for 215 yards by the Colts, and they are now gasping for their playoff lives. So those are some headlines you may have missed yesterday.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. All kinds of things going around in the NFL as teams are fighting for playoffs, and the Jaguars have 3 games left in the 2020 season, one of them being against the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday on the road. We'll talk much more about that Wednesday morning when we're back. Stay tuned. Head coach Doug Marrone coming up this afternoon. We will see you then.